My name is Jana H. Troop, and I was 28 years old when the man I had sacrificed nearly everything for announced in front of his family that he would forget me within a week. His name was Carter Hayes. We met in college, where he studied graphic design and seemed to carry enough energy for both of us. Carter was spontaneous, charming, and capable of turning a rainy afternoon into an adventure. I was a software engineering student who made backup plans for my backup plans. Somehow we worked. After graduation, we moved into a small apartment in a mid-sized city. Carter built a freelance design career while I accepted a stable remote position with a technology company. For the first 2 years, I believed we were building a future. Then his mother was diagnosed with cancer. Everything changed overnight. Carter became overwhelmed, and his father could barely manage the appointments, bills, and fear. I suggested that we temporarily move into their house so we could help. Temporarily became more than a year. I cooked meals, organized medications, drove his mother to chemotherapy, and handled household finances when his father could not concentrate. At night, after everyone slept, I opened my laptop and completed the work I had postponed all day. My company offered me a promotion during that period. It came with better pay and a leadership position, but required relocating several hours away. Carter cried when I told him, "I need you here, Jana. You're my rock." So I declined it. I told myself love sometimes required sacrifice. His mother eventually entered remission, and everyone celebrated as though we had survived a war together. I expected Carter and me to emerge stronger. Instead, he began drifting away. He spent hours scrolling through Melissa's social media pages. She was his ex-girlfriend from before college, a bold saleswoman who traveled constantly and had once ended their relationship because Carter was too predictable. He began comparing us. Melissa would have taken me on a spontaneous trip after a week like this. Melissa knew how to make life exciting. At family dinners, he joked that I was reliable but lacked passion. Everyone laughed awkwardly. I smiled because admitting how much it hurt felt worse than pretending it did not. Meanwhile, Carter expected more from me. I handled additional chores because I was better organized. I covered expenses because my job was stable. He stayed up late texting someone he claimed was only a friend. The signs were everywhere. I simply did not want to read them. His mother's remission party was held in the backyard. There were balloons, music, relatives, and enough food for twice the number of guests. I helped set up tables and spent most of the afternoon beside the grill. Halfway through the celebration, Carter pulled me into the kitchen. His expression was cold. "We need to talk." Outside, people laughed beneath the patio lights. Inside, I could smell smoke drifting in through the screen door. "What happened?" "This relationship isn't working." My stomach tightened. "Melissa is back in my life," he continued. "We've been talking for a while." "How long?" "That doesn't matter. It matters to me." He crossed his arms. "She understands me. She challenges me. You've been supportive, especially during Mom's illness. But you're safe." "Safe?" "Boring, Jana. You handled the bills and appointments, but Melissa would have made everything feel alive instead of turning it into a routine." I stared at him. I had sacrificed my promotion, friendships, sleep, and peace to keep his family functioning. He described it as routine. Several relatives had moved closer to the doorway. They could hear us, but no one intervened. Carter gave me a smug smile. "I've outgrown this. You were a placeholder until something better came along." The word hollowed something out inside me. Then he laughed lightly. "I'll forget you in a week." I waited for grief to break me. Instead, everything became calm. "If that's how you feel, we're done." His smile faded. "You're not going to fight?" "No." I collected my jacket, nodded politely to his parents, and walked out while the backyard conversation died behind me. That night, I packed my essentials. By morning, Carter's number, email, and social accounts were blocked. Then, I called my company and asked whether the promotion was still available. It was. 3 days later, I drove toward a new city and a position I should never have rejected. Carter said he would forget me in a week. I decided to make it easy for him. The first weeks in the new city were brutal. I had imagined reinvention would feel dramatic. New apartment, new job title, new version of myself. In reality, it felt like waking at 3 in the morning with Carter's words replaying in my head. Placeholder. Boring. I'll forget you in a week. I had spent years building stability for someone who treated stability like a defect. Therapy helped me see what heartbreak had hidden. Carter had emotionally left long before he ended the relationship. Every comparison to Melissa, every joke at my expense, every responsibility he handed me while he searched for excitement elsewhere had been part of the same slow betrayal. I stopped blaming myself for not noticing sooner. Then I began rebuilding. I accepted the leadership position and threw myself into work. The role was demanding, but unlike my relationship, effort was recognized. Within months, I was leading a team on a major software project and presenting directly to executives. I returned to the gym. I started hiking again. The first trail nearly destroyed me. My legs shook before I reached the summit, but when I stood above the valley with cold wind against my face, I laughed. Carter had once called hiking predictable. Without him, it felt like freedom. 6 months after the breakup, a former college friend messaged me. I don't know whether you want to hear this, but Carter's life is falling apart. I almost deleted it. Then curiosity won. Melissa was married. Carter either had not known or had convinced himself her marriage was ending. Their relationship became public after Melissa's husband discovered messages and confronted Carter outside a coffee shop. Witnesses recorded the argument. The story spread through their social circle. Then more women came forward. Melissa had not chosen Carter because he was special. He was only one of several men she had been seeing. Her employer investigated complaints connected to the scandal, and she resigned shortly afterward. Carter was left alone with the consequences. His freelance clients began disappearing. Friends who once laughed at his jokes about me stopped inviting him out. His parents, especially his mother, reportedly confronted him about how he had treated the woman who supported their family through cancer. Carter refused responsibility. According to mutual friends, he blamed Melissa, stress, his parents, and eventually me. He said my disappearing act had pushed him deeper into the relationship. That was almost impressive. 8 months after the breakup, an unknown number texted me. Jana, it's Carter. I miss you. Melissa was a mistake. Can we talk? I deleted it. Another message arrived the next day. Things are bad. I realize how good we were together. You were always there for me. That was exactly the problem. He missed the woman who fixed his life, not the woman he humiliated. The calls began next. Voicemails filled with apologies, nostalgia, and increasingly obvious panic. I need my rock back. You know me better than anyone. Please don't throw away everything we had. I blocked every number. Then his sister, Lauren, called. You're being cruel, she said. Carter needs you right now. He needed me when his mother was sick too. And you helped. Yes. Then he called me a placeholder in front of your family. He was confused. He was clear enough. Lauren accused me of holding a grudge and said I owed Carter compassion after everything their family had endured. I ended the call. Mutual friends followed. One told me Carter cried every day. Another said ghosting him was immature. No one asked how many nights I had cried while still living beside him. A year after the breakup, Carter found my work email. His first message was apologetic. I was scared. Melissa manipulated me. Please meet me once. When I did not answer, the next email changed. How dare you run away instead of fighting for us? Then came another. You think you're better than me now. The old Carter had returned. The apology had only been another strategy. Around that time, I met Daniel Mercer through a weekend hiking group. He was a civil engineer, quiet at first, with a dry sense of humor and an unusual ability to make silence comfortable. He did not need rescuing. He did not compare me to anyone. When I told him I needed time, he respected it. Our relationship grew slowly. Coffee after hikes, dinners after work, conversations without games. For the first time, stability did not feel like something I had to apologize for. It felt like love. 18 months after Carter promised to forget me, Daniel and I received invitations to a mutual friend's wedding in my old city. I knew Carter would be there. Daniel looked at me and asked, "Do you want to skip it?" I shook my head. No. I'm done rearranging my life around him. The wedding was held in a garden behind an old stone inn, with white flowers wrapped around wooden arches and strings of lights glowing above the tables. Daniel and I arrived together. He wore a navy suit and held my hand as though it was the most natural thing in the world. There was no performance in him, no need to prove ownership or make anyone jealous. He simply chose me. I saw Carter across the lawn before he saw me. He looked thinner than I remembered. His suit was slightly wrinkled, and the confidence he once carried like armor had disappeared. Then his eyes found mine. They moved immediately to Daniel. For several seconds, Carter stood frozen. I felt no rush of triumph, only distance. During cocktail hour, Carter approached while Daniel was speaking with another guest. Jana. Hello, Carter. His eyes searched my face. You look different. I am. He glanced toward Daniel. Is that your boyfriend? Yes. The answer visibly hurt him. Carter swallowed. I heard you were doing well. I am. He laughed nervously. You really disappeared. You said you would forget me in a week. I thought I would make it easy. His expression collapsed. Jana, please. I know what I said was awful. You said it clearly. I was confused. You were not confused when you compared me to Melissa for months. You were not confused when you called me boring in front of your family. And you were not confused when you told me I was only a placeholder. Tears formed in his eyes. Melissa destroyed everything. No, your choices did. He looked down. She lied to me. She was married. She made me believe we had something real. And you believed her because excitement mattered more to you than loyalty. I know that now. That knowledge came too late. Carter stepped closer. I lost clients. Friends stopped calling. My family barely trusts me. I have nothing left. You still have yourself. I don't know who that is anymore. Once, those words would have made me stay. I would have taken his hand, reassured him, and begun rebuilding his life before he even asked. But I was no longer his safety net. You need to figure that out without me, I said. His voice cracked. I miss you. You miss what I did for you. That's not true. Then tell me what you miss. He opened his mouth. Nothing came out. That silence answered everything. I looked toward Daniel. He was laughing softly with the bride's brother, completely unaware that Carter was trying to reopen a door I had already closed. Carter followed my gaze. You love him? Yes. The word came easily. He treats you better? He doesn't treat my loyalty like a weakness. Carter's eyes filled. We could start again. No. Please. You told me you deserved better. You were right. Hope flickered across his face. Then I continued. So did I. Daniel walked toward us then. He stopped beside me without touching me possessively or demanding an explanation. Everything okay? He asked. Yes. Carter looked between us. That was when one of our friends approached with a smile and raised my left hand. Have you two announced it yet? The engagement ring caught the garden lights. Carter stared at it. Daniel smiled. We were waiting until after the wedding. Congratulations spread through the nearby group. People hugged us, asked about dates, and pulled Daniel into excited conversations. Carter remained at the edge of the crowd, invisible. The same way I had felt at that remission party 18 months earlier. Before I walked away, he whispered, You really replaced me. I turned back. No, Carter. You removed yourself. Daniel simply met the woman I became afterward. His face crumpled. I did not stay to watch. Daniel took my hand and we joined the celebration. Later that evening, I saw Carter standing alone near the garden wall. He looked toward me once, but I felt nothing pulling me back. No anger. No need for revenge. No desire to prove that he had lost. He said he would forget me within a week. Instead, he spent 18 months discovering what my absence cost him. But his regret was not my victory. My victory was the promotion I finally accepted, the mountains I climbed, the confidence I rebuilt, and the man beside me who never made love feel like a competition. That night, I blocked Carter's final number. Not because I hated him, because he had become a lesson instead of a loss. And I was finished living as anyone's placeholder.